And here we are, y'all, just moments away from another conclusion of a 72-hour fast. And what am I going to eat to break the fast? I know you're wondering. I know you're like, what is he going to eat? What is he going to eat? And you guys have seen what I've had the last several weeks as we've broken the fast. And spoiler, I am going to start with the same thing that I usually start with. And if you've been with me, you know what that's going to be. But I do have some other things that I want to add. Actually, two things, and you'll see what those are here in just a minute. Hey, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood, y'all. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you, I'm talking to people who have type 2 diabetes, adults who want to put their diabetes in remission. That is, they want to reverse their diabetes. They want to get off of diabetes medications. They want to improve their obesity. That is, problems with weight. They want to improve their high blood pressure, cholesterol, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, decrease their complications of coronary artery disease, and decrease their risk factors for strokes. All of that happens as we reverse diabetes. And here on the channel, we've been using an amazing tool, the tool of fasting. And as you know, I've been doing a 72-hour fast the last several months, and we're just here checking in, and we are just 2 minutes away, y'all, from breaking this 72-hour fast. And I'm just so excited that I'm here. I get a chance to hang out with you. You guys know how we do it. Right? So you guys will get to see what my numbers are. We'll show you the meters. We'll show you what my ketones are. We'll talk through that, and we will see where you are, because I love to hear when you share your status with me, where you share where you are, where you share how things are going for you. Well, I do see some folks out there. I see Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer. Jennifer says, howdy, actually made it to the live. That's right. We're glad that you were able to get over here, Jennifer, and hang out with us. And then on Facebook, I see we do have a guest over there. Hey, man, thank you for joining. What's going on? It's been a while. So thanks that you were over there hanging out with us. So let's hop into it. Right? So number one, our first segment, I always do a check-in, right, to let you know how I'm feeling. And there are three things that I always talk about as I do my check-ins, and those are how I'm feeling physically, how I'm feeling mentally, and of course, how I'm feeling emotionally. One of the big things that happens as we move through fasting is, if we're not careful, we can be lightheaded, dizzy, sweaty, palpitations, feel like our heart is racing, actually feeling ill. And right now, I am not feeling any of that. I have not felt it. You'll see here, yesterday I was sharing my blood sugars with a lot of people in the office and with people that I ran into, people here on the show. And they were surprised at what my blood sugars were and the fact that I was not feeling tired, weak, or lightheaded. And we'll kind of explain that as we get into the rest of the show. But right now I'm feeling energetic. I'm excited. I'm excited to eat, first of all, right? So, and it's not a hunger. It's not a physical hunger, but it's that mental thing, right? Remember we talked about all those things that drive us to, let's see, where is that? All those things that drive us to eat. That's our habits, our emotions, access to food, and our taste. And those habits, y'all, hanging out with family and friends and seeing people around me, it starts to play on you, right? So we'll talk a little bit about what I'm going to eat as I get through this fast. So physically, I'm feeling energetic. I'm not feeling lightheaded, not feeling dizzy. One of the reasons, and I'll just give you a spoiler here, is because my body has ample fuel to burn. Right? I'll stop there. So then mentally, how am I feeling? My thought processes are clear. I'll save that for emotions, maybe a little irritable, but I'm feeling good. Okay. I'm clear. I don't feel foggy. In fact, as you fast, as you get past those first 18 to 24 hours, there's this clarity that comes over you that a lot of people feel as they get into those later phases, those later hours of fasting. And I think I'm there. right? So one of the main things that we want to do as we're getting into the fast, as I've always said, making sure that we're getting good rest, that we're hydrated, and that we're not involved in a lot of stressful things during the fast, because once again, those emotions will push us in the directions of wanting to eat and breaking the fast. So physically, I'm doing well. Mentally, I'm feeling clear and feeling focused. And then, of course, emotionally, I think that's been the biggest one, right? And the emotions, not that there were a lot of emotional things happening, but just the emotions, the social emotions that involved being around people, or even as my wife was cooking and smelling those smells, right? Or having people in the office talk about foods that they were eating, because what do I do, right? I'm an endocrinologist, so I talk with people about food all day. So listening to and hearing them talk about food, yeah, sometimes that can be a pull. The other thing is, this week we had several people who brought things to the office. We had somebody who brought cinnamon rolls. We had a lady who made a pound cake. Of course, my team eats. We have our lunch on Tuesday. Then they had lunch on Wednesday. And as I was going through the week, there were all of these cues that were all around me concerning food, right? So emotionally, that was the thing that I struggled with most this week. Perhaps a little bit more than I have in the past, but yeah, I got through that. So physical, mental, emotional, and I'm anticipating food. I'm anticipating eating. One of the things that I'll talk about here in a minute is that anticipation and what that does for us. Okay, so that's where we are in terms of our check-in. Let's hop over now and let's take a look at what the blood sugars are. And as you guys know, as we do, I've got my meters here. You'll see what my Libre currently says that my blood sugar is. It's currently saying that my blood sugar is a 53. And if you look at the graph down at the bottom, you'll see that it has been below 70 for most of today, right? And we'll go back and look at what my that's not the one I wanted to show. We'll go back and take a look at what the graphs are showing on the various devices. Okay. All right. So that's my Libre. And then, of course, this is my Dexcom. So Dexcom says that we are 75. Libre, as you saw, said that I was 53. So one of the things that happens, sometimes people will get a little bit concerned about the differences. And I understand the concern. I wish there were a way to make them not be different, but they are. And the reason that we have differences in monitors whenever we look at them, and we'll see here in a minute when I do my the actual finger sticks, that those sometimes will be different as well. The reason for that difference, y'all, is because these are chemical reactions. So we're basically taking the blood and we are measuring the glucose that's in the blood based on a reaction that's happening. And so there are various things that can affect that reaction: location, temperature, how fast the blood sugars are moving or changing, right? Particularly if you've eaten recently or you haven't eaten and the blood sugars are dropping, or if you're on medication and the medication is causing the blood sugars to drop, then those numbers can be different. That doesn't mean that they're inaccurate. It just means that they are reading at that time whatever the blood sugar is showing. Okay, so it's a thing. And so I tell people, usually I want you to watch the trends, right? The trends are what tells us where we need to be in terms of blood sugars. Okay, so having said that, let's hop over now and let's see, given those two, and I'm going to leave that up on the screen so you can actually see both those numbers. Given what those are saying, let's see what my meters are saying. And first, let's go ahead and get a strip out. And this is the Contour meter. And as you know, this is the one that we use in our office. Or one of the ones, I guess I should say. Because we do have a different one that we use sometimes. All right, so we'll get our strips in those monitors. Oh, this is on this side. All right. And then let's go ahead and grab one of our Lansing or Lancets. And I think I'm going to use a different finger this time. Oops. Okay, let's get a drop of blood. And get it on this one. So that's our Keto Mojo. And then get a drop of blood on our contour. And while that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get another drop because I'm going to have to do the ketones. And so 52 is what the, and look at that, guys. Look how close they are. So 52 on both of them. Okay, both say that the blood sugar is 52. So let's go ahead and take this strip out. And what do you think my ketones are going to be? What do you anticipate? If you're out there, put a guess. Put a guess. I'm going to guess before I put this on. Let's see. I'm going to say 4 because yesterday it was 2.9. So I'm going to say close to 4, maybe a 3.6 or higher. All right. So let's see. All right. You still got a chance to put your guess in there. Let's see what is it going to be. All right. 4. There you go. Okay, and so now let's hop over and let's pull up. So this is our contour, and that will of course pull in what our blood sugar is right now. It's going to sync, and in a minute we'll see. Let's see, where did it go? 52, and then let's get our Keto Mojo meter over, and that should pull in both our glucose and our ketones. And let's go ahead and I'm going to sync that. All right, and there you are. So glucose of 52 and ketones were 4. Let's take a look at the graph that goes along with those numbers. All right, so I'm going to back up a little bit and talk about the beginning of this graph. And so the beginning of the graph, you'll see the turquoise line is or turquoise blue, greenish, is those are the ketones. And then the tan line that's there, those are the blood sugars. And notice that as the blood sugars are low blood sugars, meaning also low insulin, by the way, then the ketones are high. As I began eating, as I broke the fast last week, the blood sugars climbed. The ketones went down because the blood sugars climbed. As the blood sugars went up, insulin came out. Insulin is a storage and a energy consumption hormone. So we can't be burning ketones and glucose at the same time, okay, within reason, right? There's some cases where that happens. But as the blood sugars went up, then the ketones went down. In fact, as the blood sugars were at the highest, the ketones were at the lowest. And then as I started fasting again over the last couple of days, you'll see that those blood sugars started going down, ketones started rising to the point where we are right now with the glucose of 52 and ketones of 4.0. Going through the ketones, we want ketones of 0.5 to about 1.5, 1.0, 1.5. That's considered nutritional ketosis. Below that is considered normal, and then above that, 1.6 or higher, is considered to be therapeutic ketosis. Okay, so those are the ketones. Let's hop over and let's take a look at some blood sugars. And let me do one thing first as I do that. So those are the ketones. Remember, in terms of the phases or the different timelines that we've talked about, one, we want to know and understand that as our blood sugars are rising during eating, our insulin also is going up. When we stop eating, it takes those first 5 to 8 hours is what most people say, 5 to 8 hours for the body to digest the food that we're eating. Okay, does that make sense? 5 to 8 hours. 8 hours to 24 hours is when our glucose begins going down and our insulin level starts to drop as well, because the insulin can't stay high if the glucose is going down. And that's one of the benefits that we are harnessing in our quest to put our diabetes in remission. As long as we can keep those insulin levels down, then we don't have the complications that go along with having hyperinsulinemia, or the other term that we use is insulin resistance or hyperinsulinemia. All right, so let's take a look now at what is going on with our graphs. And right now, that I wear two monitors. I've got a Dexcom, and I've got a Libre, one on either arm. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Libre. Sorry, not the Libre. We're going to take a look at the Dexcom. And you'll see there the Dexcom right now says that my average blood sugar over the last 2 weeks, so 14 days, has been 116. And that's that big number that you see there. I have been in target range 94% of the time. And the range is 70 to 180. And according to these calculations, if I continue with these blood sugars, then my glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate, an estimate, if you will, of the A1C, will be about a 6.1. I usually tell patients that I want them to shoot for a 6.5, right? So right here, this guy is saying that I'm a little better than that. And if you remember, when I showed my personal lab work, my A1C was a 6.6. Okay. All right. So let's hop over and let's take a look at some of our daily graphs, because I want to see. Actually, before we do that on this one, I'm going to hop over and let's take a look at this is the Libre. And you'll see, just like the other, this says that my average glucose is 90, and that's because the Libre tends to be a little lower than the Dexcom. My range 70 to 180, and it says that I've been in target 76%. And the 76% actually is because if you look at these numbers, if you combine those, that's about 99%, right? So between having low blood sugars according to the Libre and having blood sugars that are in the target range, 70 to 180, then that's what gives us that number. If we scroll down and take a look at the actual days that I've been fasting, so starting here on Tuesday, actually this is the next week, here we are. So started on Tuesday, and then 24 hours later into Wednesday, and then 24 hours later into Thursday. So we're now at 48 hours right here on Thursday at 6 o'clock. And you'll see the blood sugars went low. And if I scroll up, they stayed low from, actually, if we go back maybe about maybe this is what, 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. So they've been low, below 70, according to this, since yesterday. That is at 48 hours. We've been low since that time throughout the course of this entire day. Okay, so below 70. So let's hop back over and let's take a look at the Dexcom. And I like this one because it actually we can actually see what the numbers were at those times. So if we start on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, about 139 to 140 blood sugars. If we go 24 hours, about 103-ish. 24 hours after that, so now we're 48 hours. We're down into the into the 80s or 90s. And then here today, we haven't quite gotten to 6 o'clock on this, but we're in the 70s. So once again, going back, starting on Tuesday, we're in the 140s, 130s, 140s. 24 hours later, we've dropped by 30 points. 24 hours after that, so at 48 hours, we've dropped, let's see, what was this? This was 100. So we've dropped about 20 points. And then coming into today, I'm anticipating, right, maybe 70s, 60s and 70s. And actually, let's go back over and we can see exactly what it is right now. And we are 74. Okay, so notice the progression in the decrease. So the numbers are different from the Libre, but they're consistent with what we would expect that those blood sugars would be. So the questions that you're asking right now, one of the questions is, okay, why is your body still functioning? And the body's still functioning because it has an alternate source of energy. As I started to say, those first 8 hours or so, we're digesting. 24 hours, we're getting rid of, we've used up our carbohydrates, used up our glycogen. 24 to 48 hours, we're now burning fat. And we're burning fat and we're producing ketones, and our body is using ketones now as energy. And then 48 to 72 hours, we are in autophagy, or autophagy is starting. Not saying that we're in autophagy. And that's not the only thing that's happening at that time. There are a lot of other things that are happening, right? So we're decreasing inflammation. We're reclaiming during autophagy all of those damaged, unused cells. We're improving our immune system, right? So all those things are happening as we get further and further into the fast. And that's the benefit of having some of these longer fasts. Well, let me hop over, and I see Jennifer says, she says, I am breaking a 36-hour fast tonight. Jennifer, exciting for that. I'm excited about that. Congratulations. And, here on the channel, we've been challenging you to go ahead and work your way up so you can be able to fast for 24 hours. That was the initial challenge in the month of February. Okay. Now we'll come back and we'll talk about some longer fasts, but Jennifer, I'm so proud of you. I'm glad that you are able to do that. Go ahead and put into chat. Let us know if you don't mind, just drop for us. How are you feeling physically? Right. And how are you feeling right now? Yeah. So drop that in the chat so that we can see what that is. Okay. All right. So what am I going to eat for breaking my fast? Right. So as we talk about fasting, I want to make a couple of points. There are about three general phases of fasting that I want to talk about. There are other things we will discuss, but preparing for the fast, going through the fast, and of course, breaking the fast. Preparing for the fast has everything to do with making sure that you're setting yourself up for success during the fast, however long the fast is going to be. You want to make sure that you are well rested. Make sure that you have a good meal prior to the fast. Don't gorge yourself. Don't anticipate the fast and just, start downing stuff just because, right? Make sure you're having a nutritious meal as you get into the fast. Make sure you're rested. Make sure you are maintaining hydration leading up to the fast, and don't plan to be doing stressful things, right? So don't plan to be at a wedding. If it's your wedding or somebody in your family, if you're mom or dad or sister, you're the bridesmaid, groomsman, whatever, that's not a good time to fast, right? Plan a fast where you are not in a high stress environment. So that's preparing for the fast. During the fast, you want to make sure that you are being mindful, that you are listening to your body, that you are allowing yourself to hear what the body's saying. Make sure that you continue to rest through the fast. Make sure you continue to maintain hydration. Last week, we talked about making sure that you are using electrolytes if you need them, and always that you're in contact with your healthcare provider, right? So that's the success of the fast. And then for ending the fast, we want to make sure that we don't do things during the breaking of the fast that undoes what we've done during the fast. What are some things that we can do there? Number one, we can, as we are getting to the end of the fast or even during the fast, begin anticipating and begin planning for this large meal that we're going to have. You heard me say earlier that I was thinking about breaking the fast. One of the things that we don't want to do, we don't want to begin planning for this huge kind of makeup eating that sometimes we think about, because we think, oh, I haven't eaten for 24 hours. I haven't eaten for 36 hours. I haven't eaten for 72 hours. So I'm going to get in there. I'm going to eat all the stuff that I haven't eaten for those 72 hours. That is not the plan. Okay. That is not the plan. That's not what we want to do, because that sets you up for undoing many of the things that you've done before. That's the first thing. Don't begin anticipating and planning these big things. Number two, when you're breaking the fast, try not to have high carb, high processed foods. High carb, high processed foods. Because if you're having those high carb, high processed food, which tend to have a lot of sugar, a lot of glucose, a lot of carbohydrates, the blood sugars will spike up. As the blood sugar spikes, the insulin goes up, because the insulin has to bring those blood sugars back down. Once the insulin goes up, the insulin makes you hungry, so you begin having cravings. you get hungry. The insulin makes you retain fluid and retain weight. So all of the things that you're now eating, instead of it just going to work to energize your body, the body begins storing it. So if you've lost weight during the fast, coming out of the fast and eating those things will begin putting that weight on quickly. Okay? So that's one of the things you do not want to do. Not any high carb food as we're breaking the fast. Now, as you get further away from the fasting, the ending of the fast, you will begin incorporating some things in that have carbs. Yes, but as we're getting to the end of that fast, make sure that you are maintaining some semblance of just being careful. How about saying that, right? One of the things that people have talked about is trying to actually prolong the fast, prolong the fast even as we're eating. Because when you break the fast, prolong ketosis, actually, I should say, not the fast. When you break the fast, as you're putting food in, the body's now, if it's protein, the body's breaking that down, and it is going to make some energy. But if it's not carbohydrates, the body still, even though it's now processing food and you're not as hungry and you're providing the body with nourishment, the body still is having to burn ketones. So you actually prolong the fast at the end, prolong ketosis, because you eat something that doesn't have a whole lot of carbohydrates. Okay. You want to start slow, start low and go slow. Start low, so low carb, and go slowly. So as you guys know, here on the channel, I've been using broth to break my fast, and I'm going to do that again today because it is so good, y'all. It is delicious. I love it. But I'm actually going to add a couple of other things. And the things that I'm doing, I'm adding, I've not done before. One I have done before, but not by itself. Right? So I usually do broth. I usually do the nuts. You guys have seen that before. I usually do the beans because I love them so much. But today, I'm going to use something different or a different form. Okay, let me say it that way. So once again, start low, go slow. Don't plan to have a huge meal. Watch the carbs, watch the processed foods that you're going to eat as you're breaking the fast, because those can themselves cause us some other issues. All right, so let's see. So what am I going to use to break my fast? Number one, I said that I am going to use some bone broth. So here we are. We got that. And that is a combination of chicken broth and beef broth, okay, is what that is. And if I go over to my Yuka app, and let's see, I'm sure I have one of those in there. I think I may have the chicken broth in there. I think I was having trouble finding. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So here's what Yuka says. Okay. So this is chicken style instant broth and seasoning. So this is what I'm using, and the beef one is kind of the same. So that's what we're going to use. And then, y'all, I'm going to add to that let's see, can you see that? So I've got broth, I've got some beef sausage, and I think I have a picture of, I couldn't scan it for some reason, but I did take a picture so you guys could see. All right, so that's the sausage that's there. And then I have, this is actually supposed to be scrambled eggs, but as I was getting ready to scramble it, I thought, hey, why don't I just fold it over and make an omelet? So I made an omelet. There's nothing in it. It's just eggs. And as you see, there's some black pepper that's on it. And then there is some salt. And then over on this side, because you guys know how I do, there is some pepper sauce right there that we're going to use okay? So let's hop back over here, and you get to see me here for the first time in 72 hours, 3 days, y'all. Take my first bite. And as you know, this stuff is good. All right, so let's see. My son didn't make it for me this night. I made it myself. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is good. I think I might just drink this all and then get to the sausage and the eggs. Now, why did I change from the nuts that I was eating? And the reason I changed from the nuts I was eating was because, well, two things. Number one, which is getting back to our HEAT model, right? So habit, emotions, access, and taste. I got the nuts, and they were so good, y'all. And I had them sitting right here, and I kept saying to myself, oh, these are healthy, so I can have another one. These are healthy, so I can have another one. These are healthy, so I can have another one. And before I knew it, like half the bag was gone. And if you know, let's go back to my Yuka app. Let's see if I have those. I should have those in the Yuka app. And the nuts that I was using, as you know, nuts, and these were almonds and cashews. They do have carbs. And so what I found was that I was starting to have cravings, right? And of course, I said I'm not going to eat. Well, here's one. I'm not going to eat any other things with high carbs. So I was eating cheese and eating more nuts and eating more cheese because I didn't want my blood sugars to spike, right? And before I knew it, yeah, half the thing was gone and half the container of cheese was gone. So I decided I'll do the broth tonight, but I'll also do a little bit more protein to get started. And I did not buy Jennifer. Jennifer was in our community meetup a couple weeks or last week, and we talked about my nut fetish, my love for almonds and pistachios and cashews. All right, so there we are. My first taste of, well, it's still liquid, but something with calories in 72 hours. That's very good. Okay, so I'm going to hop over here, guys, and I'm going to go ahead and have one of these. Maybe I'll do two at one time. That is so good. If you've never had eggs and sausage after 3 days of not eating, yeah. So Jennifer, if you're still there, tell us, what are you eating to break your fast? Good. And if you're out there and you've been fasting, what have you been eating to break your fast? How have you felt during the fast? How has your energy been? Just drop those in the comments because we'd love to know. Guys, this is so good. The other thing I usually use, by the way, is I usually use salads, but I'm not doing that. I just want to see what my blood sugars do and what the cravings are like as I come out of the fast using this instead of what I normally use. And I see a friend of mine out there. I was going to use some tofu, Maybe I'll do tofu next week so we can see what that does to my blood sugar and to the cravings. Okay. I guess I should be talking to you guys instead of eating, but I'm. Okay. One more. Okay, one more. And there you have it, y'all. 72 hours. Another one in the books. And I'm feeling amazing. Now, one thing that I'm sure everybody's interested in, which I haven't shown yet. Oh, and Jennifer just popped in. She said green beans, grilled steak, mushrooms, salad with cheese, and berries. And she said currently eating too. I love that. So Jennifer, perhaps in one of our next meetups, what we need to do is we all need to break the fast together. And that way we can see each other, right? So that would be great to do. Awesome. And so Firstborn 1968 says, enjoy yourself. You earned it. Thank you. All right. So yes. So Anthony Butler is out on our Instagram. He's an Anthony Butler, long time no see. Good stuff, bro. Thank you, Anthony. And then he said, enjoy yourself. You earned it. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So let's see. As we continue this process, remember what we're doing, okay? Remember what our platform is. The platform is that we're educating, we're empowering, and we're encouraging. So education with all the stuff that we do, the shows, the shorts, the blogs, the podcast, the website, all of that is to provide education, because you cannot make changes if you don't have data, if you don't have information. And so one of the things that we do is we provide information, and I'm hoping that you're getting good information. Go ahead and drop us a line. When you see us in our DwayneWoodMD.com, you can go to the website. You can go to any of the social media platforms and you put Dwayne Wood MD, then you'll find me there. You can drop me a note. That's number one. Number two is that we empower, and the empowerment comes from the tools that we are learning and we're using. One of the most powerful tools that we're using right now is fasting. We also learned about emotional intelligence. We learned about addressing medication usage, right? So one of the things that we did, we learned about access yesterday or on Monday at our show. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And then finally, we encourage. And the encouragement is the community that we have that's going on. As you're fasting, as you are making changes in your life, as you're making changes in your health, remember the things that will push you over the edge, the things that will interrupt the fast. And you've got to learn now how to be mindful about them. And that's why the emotional intelligence is so good. The things that trigger us are things related to habit, right? Just a certain time of the day. We sit down to watch movies, so we eat popcorn. It's noon, so we're going to eat, even though we're not hungry and everybody else is eating. We sit down, we play cards, we go bowling, we go somewhere with some friends, and we eat just because, right? So remember, number two is emotions, right? You heard that thing, don't be too halt, H-A-L-T. Don't be too hungry, be too angry, too lonely, too tired, and frustrated, and all those things, all those emotions will push us in that direction. And then access. Sometimes we eat simply because it's there. You heard me just a moment ago. I was eating those nuts, even though I wasn't hungry, but they were sitting right here on my table. So I had to get rid of them, y'all. Okay? And then we eat because of taste. The taste is an interesting one, and we're going to be talking about that at our show on Monday. Taste is complicated. When I go to New York, if I fly to New York right now, I stop off on the way to my mom's house. I get a a hot dog, a slice of pizza, and I get some Chinese food. Why? Because I like the taste. And the taste reminds me of when I was growing up in Brooklyn, right? When I used to hang out with my dad, when I was hanging out with my friends. All those things trigger us and it pushes us in that direction, right? That's the platform that we're using. The Triple E Formula for Success. We're learning the triggers. These are all tools, y'all. And then our call to action is this. Join the challenges. We've got challenges that are going. You go back and watch the video, right? So our first challenge was to work our way up to a 24-hour fast. And then we talked about working our way to being able to fast for 24 hours once a week. Then we talked about cleaning up our environment. How do we decrease our access to those things that are not in keeping with what we want to do? Join the challenges. If you're just finding us right now, you may say, hey, man, you guys have gone over 3 months already. You're not too late. Go back, watch those videos, and catch up with us, okay? If you have not been fasting, or you have not been able to make it to 24 hours, start where you are. If you're at 12, go to 14. If you're at 14, go to 16. If you're at 16, go to 18, 18 to 20, and then 22, and then 24, right? Join us because this is what we want you to do, and this is going to set you up for success. Number 2, come to the show. Join the show. As you sit and you talk and you are able to share your story, your successes, the challenges that are going on, then that encourages not just you, but it encourages everybody else that is part of the community. We are better. We are growing. We become stronger when we all work together. And then finally, invite someone. There are between 430 and 460 million people around the world that have diabetes. In the United States, over 37 million. In the United States, over 88 million that are pre-diabetic. We won't talk about the people who have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, suffer from obesity, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, have had heart attacks, have had strokes. All of those people need this information. So you can be a voice in spreading the good news, y'all, that we can be better, that we can reverse diabetes, that we can get off of medication, we can improve our weight, and we can set ourselves up for success. That's our call to action for you. And then as we talk about one of the benefits that we get from our fasting, remember, the benefits that we get for fasting, some of the benefits are just, y'all, by the way, side effects. It is not the thing that we're shooting for. It's not the thing that we said we're going for. But just because of the fact that we're improving our health, there's so many things in our lives that get better. And you'll see there on the screen, right? So hypertension, hyperlipidemia, coronary artery disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, all the things that I've been talking about, and so much more. I've got to add some more there, so that you can see many more of the things that get better as we are improving our health. And then one of the things that I know you are interested in seeing, and let's go ahead and let me pull that up really quickly. And you guys have been watching me on my weight journey. And here is, y'all, what my weight was this morning, 186 pounds. Right? If you remember, if we go back a year ago, in March of 2023, 240 pounds. 240 pounds. And we said that we wanted to be losing about a half a pound to a pound per week. And over the 52 weeks, we've lost 52 pounds. We were at 188. I think that was 2 weeks ago. And here we are now, 186. So this is simply a side effect of managing my diabetes, of improving my diabetes, y'all. And you can get those same benefits as you are taking charge of your health, taking charge of your life, and doing those things that you need to do to be healthy. Man, I'm so happy that you guys were here. Glad that I got a chance to spend some time with you. As always, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level, creating the life you've always wanted. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. We'll see you at our next show, and then we'll see you at our next check-in. Good night. Have a great weekend.